Swelter is a Half-Life 2 mod made by modders collectively known as Snowdrop Escape. The events of Swelter take place years before Gordon Freeman shows up in City 17. You play as a mostly silent protagonist who is part of the Lambda Resistance fighting the Combine in City 545. The mod has relatively strong story inclinations, especially with the political rivalries between different resistance groups as well as the ever-present din of the Combine. As the game takes place in Central Asia, there is a relatively strong theme of Asia throughout, giving Swelter a fairly unique look while also maintaining its roots in the Half-Life 2 universe. There's a nice mix of action-heavy and light sequences, as well as some puzzle sections I struggled with for reasons I'll get to later. The level design is phenomenal, however, and there are points throughout where I just have to marvel at the visual quality of everything, especially within City 545.
When our resistance forces under the Lambda symbol came to this region, we were not the first freedom fighters. The local black squads, led by the anarchist Roki, became our loyal allies, and together we strengthened the underground, helped refugees to find a new home, and carried out subversive activities. But the black squads prioritized their local goals over the global goals of my commanders. Their refusal to work according to the orders of the Resistance Command forced us to declare them a hindrance in the liberation of Earth. They're no longer our allies.
Hey there, buddy. It's good that I found you just in time. The center informed me that your mission is to infiltrate Roki's Black Battalion and to make amends. Our agent, Academic, is a Roki's old friend. Winning Academic's trust is like getting an entry pass to the Black Battalion. By the way, the train no longer stops in the city because of the rebellion. So get up, take all your courage, and jump off the car. Ciao!
We're just kind of thrown into this, taking the train and the upcoming city visuals as they are impressive for a Half-Life game. We survived this.
Hey, get up! Get up! Why did you jump off the train? This is an industrial site. Outsiders are not allowed to be here, especially in times like this. Leave and don't attract any more attention to yourself. You understand? Now go!
Yep, you can see that my brains are splattered all over this object. I guess we're not a zombie though, and somehow we did survive that impact. Not sure how though. This is an impressive industrial looking city. There's even a Combine-like tower set up there in the distance. I'm pretty much immediately impressed with how everything looks even at this opening sequence. We're literally just going to run away from this location in a little bit. Look at the clutter in this office. Get used to it. Almost every room, even ones you just pass by, have this amount of detail and what I feel is a lived-in experience to them. Maybe this is not an idyllic industrial town, but it is still a sight to behold. Just in case you forgot this was a Half-Life game, we have one of those Combine walls over to the left.
Good lords, what happened? Have you seen your head?
Our first encounter with the police doesn't go well. I mean, does it ever really? It does take me a moment to realize I'm supposed to run down the top of the train that arrives. In retrospect, perhaps the broken railing was a clear indicator of that, but in the moment I was confused about where I should go. The train lets us jump over the Combine barrier. Metro cop vehicles pull up to stop me and I have to cut through some old shop to escape them. Curiously enough, I don't have health yet, so this med kit isn't actually useful.
I'd give anything for a glass of water and a cold shower right now. All within the law, of course.
This is a pretty busy street level. Once more, everything looks like it's occupied. Metrocrop vehicle flows by, unaware I'm the one they're looking for. I guess you simply can't arrive anywhere the Combine are without attracting undue attention, no matter who you are. Two dudes on a bench mention water and a shower, but as we'll see throughout, nobody has showers. Nobody.
I should report on the local situation. We are on strike, demanding the water issue to be resolved. The administration did not even listen to us. They just beat everyone. Our underground groups took the initiative. They accepted anyone who was discontent and equipped them with weapons and supplies. We have been holding about 1/5 of this city for several days now. This quarter is still under the Overwatch control. As soon as you get to our areas, there will be no problems with supply support. But for now, you'll have to make do with the equipment and the rank and file rebels.
The Lambda resistance is apparently just right here in the street. On the other side, we get the body armor, which unlocks our health, and also a stun weapon. They aren't well equipped here, but then again, it doesn't look like anyone else is well equipped either. I don't wait for this goon to tell me I can put the can in the trash. Time to make our daring escape, or perhaps just our movement into the resistance-controlled section of the city. This Combine graciously donates his pistol. We have an apartment full of them, so I should be able to get enough ammo. Two more in this room holding up some random citizen and a third in the kitchen. Right off the bat, we have way more ammo than we did en route to evacuation.
Buddy, are you okay?
Why is this happening to us? Why were we so punished?
Relax. Breathe in, breathe out. We are unharmed. We will find a way out of this.
Rubber ducky. Also ammo above the bathtub. Who doesn't need more bullets nearby? I cross here, watching a civilian get shot down by the turret. There's a dude in the upper window that apparently is unnoticed by the gunner and that only seems to want me. I have to throw him missiles so he can shoot. We'll use this particular mechanic a couple of times to reload stationary weapons. Thankfully, I have a stronger throwing arm than perhaps Adrian Shepard does with his grenades. He fires those rockets way faster than even Freeman. I won't complain though.
Yeah, got one. Nice work.
The medic here opens up the storage room and gets some ammo for the SMG as well as the SMG itself. We're gonna need this thing for what's ahead. This is the academic, presumably teaching about resistance. He wants us to follow and assist in eliminating the Combine within this district of City 545. Story-wise, this is also the contact we need to make friends with in order to gain access to the real target, Roki, who's out in the steppes.
Attention, citizens. Suppression of anti-civil activity is proceeding in your district. Shelter in place. Stay away from windows and other open spaces.
Cops pour out onto the street, and although I have a scope, the SMG isn't great at range. Fortunately, between the two of us, we can take out the handful that come out from both sides of the street. Ah, look, the illusion of choice. We need to run a mission for the academic. In fact, we'll be running several for him. Firstly, though, there's a gate that needs to be opened, but the terrain is more suitable for an operative such as myself. Got to love the ambience, the distant fighting, and the loud military speakers telling us to obey. Now in this section, you're supposed to move the washing machine that is also apparently bulletproof by pushing it towards the turret in order to survive its onslaught. For some reason, it gets stuck in a doorway and I can't proceed. The next time, though, it works flawlessly. Yep, taking cover near red barrels is always a mistake. I made it anyway, though. These cops pour into the playground. I have to back up to take cover. Without HEV armor, I'm pretty vulnerable, even to normal weapon fire. Cover in Half-Life games is, you know, always questionable, but at least I can duck to reload.
And other open spaces. Follow the orders of civil protection and stand by for further instructions.
I open the gate and we learn this is truly a resistance as they drive in with a civilian van. As we'll see later, driving around in civilian vehicles in a war is going to have some consequences. The Combine ambush us and we take them out easily. However, for some reason I think I can sneak past these laser trip mines and, well, I can't. Second try, what if I just shoot them? Well, you throw explosives and the doors close behind you, so you're trapped inside with the blast. I think you're actually just supposed to parkour it, but I managed to throw a grenade from the outside of the door instead. It still blows up in my face, but I don't instantly die this time. Once at the top, there's one cop, and then we can open the gate. One final Combine bursts in from the closet to die.
And other open spaces.
Comrades, what happened here? Gas explosion?
God knows, we're just electricians.
Would you like to join the resistance?
Nope. We've got children, wives, and parents. We will not take risks.
Well, okay. We always have vacancies if you change your minds.
The academics just out here trying to recruit city workers into the resistance, but they're having none of it. The voice acting is rough in places, but, you know, this is just a mod and everything else is top-notch, so you gotta give them a little slack. This exchange has the resistance commander wanting us to clear the yard while he and the academic have a little conversation, or so he says. The yard has the Combine holding the high ground. We have to approach with some semblance of cover, as much cover as you can ever get in a Half-Life game, with very limited weaponry. I take some shots and realize I need to get closer to effectively use the SMG. There's a lot of guys up here and it's a pretty big, if somewhat quick brawl in order for us to push up. Once inside the building, a Combine chases a Sippy through the door, and we encounter manhacks. Through that door is a long hall with gunners at the other end. However, one randomly well-placed grenade takes care of that. The Combine has built up in the ruins of this building. There's a control room higher up with a veritable army of manhacks. By the way, the music is something else, both fitting of the location, but also fitting of Half-Life. You know, here's some of that friction in the resistance. They give me a shotgun to do this job. This feels pretty good. It might not be Gina Cross's shotgun, but I will use it throughout the entirety of the game, off and on. I think this is a dump truck, or at least something equivalent, that we're basically using as cover as we push down the street under fire. We have to deal with the better armed Combine. The vehicle is damaged and requires repairs from the nearby supply shed. I have to duct tape the fuel tank and then refill it with diesel to get it running again. We don't do this a lot, but it's a neat little addition to the game.
Stay away from windows and other open spaces. Follow the orders of civil protection.
This Combine APC rolls up, and it's time to load the mounted rocket launcher to eliminate it. Much like the yard before, when we threw rockets to the dude in the window, here we have to sequentially load the launcher, aim, and then fire. All that's left now is to hook up the winch and rip open the gate. Gordon Freeman needed a dog to do all this work, and these guys just use a dump truck and a winch. This is artillery, and it takes me a little bit to figure that out. This whole section is under fire from it, at least until we are eventually directed to eliminate it. I have to give it a wide berth. In spite of a somewhat anemic appearance, it is quite deadly if you get hit. This is some sort of bomb maker dude here. Help him out and he'll blow the gate, which will give us access to the building with the artillery. Maybe we can turn it against the enemy, but at least we can take it out. There's an aid station here, and I need some help after getting hit by one of the artillery strikes on the way here. The medic present has a heal that's maybe slightly better than the Hiku medic, but you can only get one of them, it seems, at least as far as I can tell.
Can you shoot? I bet you can. If you off the combine gunners, the iron mortar will become useless for a while. This will give us time to race to the school and seize it from within. Here's the rifle. It's old but robust, I hope.
This is a bizarre looking doll here. It looks kind of like a weevil, but not quite. I've only ever seen this one now. Is this some sort of Central Asian character? The resistance fighter here has a bolt-action sniper rifle for me. How very generous of her. The binoculars take some getting used to, but I need them to find exactly where the Combine are hiding. Killing two of them causes reinforcements to pour out of the building in front of me, although I don't realize it at the time. That's the artillery on the rooftop across from me. It takes quite a bit of time for me to find the dude hiding on the left side. The scope almost isn't enough. Oddly, you can pick up an unscoped version of the rifle much later, but there isn't much of a point to it by then. There also isn't enough ammo. The artillery retaliates to my killing the spotters and hits the building, setting it ablaze. Hey, nice hat. The bomb maker is good on his word. A resistance fighter blows open the gates and lets us into the structure of the artillery situated atop it. I get to see just how damaged the rounds are when they vaporize most of my squad. So much for reinforcements. After fighting through the lower floors, I finally reach the artillery itself. One combine is all it takes to direct the firing sequence. I initially get to take control of it, intending to use it against its owners, but they bombard it from afar to prevent that. I was actually hoping to blow up some combine positions with it. Someone with a really loud handheld loudspeaker is calling for me to go to the bar, but I don't actually know where that is. I have to wander around a bit to find him. Literally just saw the artillery I mortared, but this dude doesn't seem to care. He's just sitting out here making himself a target by screaming at the top of his lungs. Is this the bar? Even the bar and Stalker was better equipped. This armor will give us access to HEV energy sources. They are pretty sparsely distributed throughout, but very necessary for long-term survival. We'll need it, especially here in this warehouse where there are a surprising amount of Combine that will attack and ambush us, especially in a upcoming lobby section. Again, not quite Gina Cross's shotgun, but it feels pretty good, and it sounds pretty good too. It does a lot of damage. It's just slow and I have to pump each shell. You can't be too aggressive with it because of this.
Attention, this is the security terminal. We can disable the shields if we put it out of normal mode. It's not so complex. There are 3 hardware terminals on this floor. I will open the hatches and you'll close the cooling system valves. When you're done, come back here.
These cords on the ceiling will actually direct you where you need to go, but I didn't notice these immediately. You turn these valves with some additional convoy and reinforcements that arrive to try to stop you. One group has trip mines while the other brought a turret. Ultimately, this cuts off power and allows us to go downstairs through the previously shielded barrier. This next section has health and armor. I grab everything I can, not realizing this will be quite the ambush spot. I probably should have realized that given all the doors present. The doors will open sequentially with a trio combine per set. The level design here is particularly destructible and the whole room gets torn up from the fighting. This is pretty awesome, and I expect that was a lot of work to do properly in this old engine. The level design here continues to be amazing. Destroyable rooms, even to just the degree of this.
I saw them run towards you. I'm sorry, I couldn't help.
Across the street, right after taking the warehouse, there was a fight between the Combine and Resistance. The medic immediately eats a grenade, which is unfortunate because although they only get slightly better heals than Hiku medics, at least they give something. I like this bolt-action rifle. Seemed out of place in the Half-Life universe, but it works real well. Barrels are kicked down from above and I set the place alight. Just down the street a bit is another building with Combine pouring out of it. I'm drawn to the fight like a mosquito to human flesh. I'm supposed to get explosives and blow this place up, and failing to do that, the dude I'm with gets killed, ending the excursion. Occasionally, the people you're escorting can die. Next time I go to the clearly marked Lambda location, there's a crate of grenades and a binocular target system. Also, it's clearly marked on the building to throw grenades, I just didn't see it for some reason. This lights the building up and the Combine burn to death inside. There's this little tunnel dug around the Combine wall that lets us into the next section. A civilian vehicle rolls up and demonstrates why it's dangerous to drive around in a civic vehicle in a war zone. The Combine come out to investigate, but I'm here waiting for them. This is actually a bit of a puzzle room with the elevator, the stackable boxes, and the power cord. In order to turn off the force field, you have to unplug the power, but this turns off the elevator too. Up on the balcony, once the field is down, is another box. Between these two, you will be able to climb up on the fully extended elevator without power. I do eventually figure this out, plugging the power into the other section and stacking the two boxes with the elevator up to get into the balcony area. This allows me to open up a room guarded by turrets. There's a switch, but it's locked up. Crossing the room allows me to unplug the other end, and moving into the open slot above the switch, which allows me to turn off the turret. More importantly here, however, this allows me to open up the balcony area once I move the plug back to the door so I can get out anyway. This is the same launcher I took out the truck. It's got a big box of explosives just carelessly set open next to it. You'd think the Combine wouldn't just leave explosives like this around. Unfortunately, I've got a grenade right here, and I did figure this one out. We're not quite done. Use the winch on the truck, which is remarkably still intact, to pull the truck out of the way to clear the route. The academic has yet another mission for us, sending us underground to another section of the city. Underground here, I find those plants from opposing force that generate the ammo, except of course I don't have the weapon for it. This might be the first time I've ever seen any hint of Race X. We'll see these again on the train in the future, but it's a cool little thing to include them here for anyone that remembers opposing force, which I do since I just did it. How long has it been since I mentioned how awesome the level design is in this mod? Look at this wall, it just stretches out forever. And we're clearly in a place in the city that was overrun and seemingly abandoned by both the Combine and the Resistance. There's a few antlions here, and we'll be seeing far too many of them soon enough. Oh yeah, bombed out buildings, charred remains. Yeah, it's the bleak Half-Life universe out here. I get to use the physics engine here, but at least they mostly resisted the temptation to put in a seesaw. This here leads to a crank that allows us to pull the bridge over the massive gap in the level and cross it. This zombie scares the absolute crap out of me. I was not prepared for that scream after wandering around what was otherwise abandoned territory, with the exception of a few antlions. Oh, poison zombies. These are not my favorite. I'm not a fan of them. I don't hold back explosives to eliminate this one. There's going to be a few of these around here, and I'm not going to spare ammo to remove each and every one of them I run into. I really don't like these zombies. They're actually all over this staircase, the poison head crabs, but it's worth it to go down here for the HEV energy. There's just not enough of this stuff around, mostly. These mines are actually easy enough once I recall how to deal with them. As long as I know they are there, I can trip them and then back off fast enough to avoid taking damage. I make this look easy. It was not. Without the gravity gun, I was initially at a loss of how to proceed. There are actually handprints on all of these. I don't know, concrete sewage pipes? I'm not really sure what the technical term for these are. Moving this one over here, over the antlion pit, stops the constant spawn of antlines that will eventually wear you down if you're stuck trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, like I was. Then you need this second one for the platform to jump across. I think I said before that there were no seesaws prior, and I guess this technically counts, but at least it's not just piling junk on one side in order to jump across. For some reason, here in the middle of nowhere, with a bunch of headcrabs on the upper floors, I discovered that this is actually a resistance hideout. I guess they enter from an alternative route, and this is just kind of here to keep the Combine or whoever else out, but still seems a little dangerous, considering how dangerous headcrabs are to just normal people. Also, I think I can take this gun with me and use it, but of course the map designer thought of that one. I don't know why I thought that. It doesn't stop me from dragging this thing all the way through to the other side though, just have to abandon it.
I went through Panama, the Persian Gulf, and Somalia with these weapons when I was a US Marine. I hope that after completing my missions here, I will be sent to patrol in some green forest away from civilization, have my own observation tower and the river nearby, and have absolute peace, only occasionally reporting that the sector is clear and no enemies are sighted.
Hey there, buddy. I've recorded and forwarded this message ahead of the game. The Black Resistance, that's how the Roki subordinate units call themselves, and they're dominating in this step. As per the agreements, our Lambda Resistance is in alliance with them. We have a common goal, to confront the Combine. However, this alliance is ready to turn into a feud. Ideological conflicts and all that stuff. For this reason, do not flash your Lambda badge. They don't like it there. Do you remember your mission? Infiltrate the battalion and make amends. See you later, buddy. I'm counting on you.
We're finally going to meet the rebel in the steppes. I think his name is Roki. We've navigated through the city and the Combine. Make amends is of course code, and the game will actually present us with the option at the end to proceed how we choose, which was surprising as the entirety of this storyline seemed extremely linear and I suppose set in place. Unfortunately, and also inevitably, my heist to steal and then utilize the turret from the rebel base comes to a complete halt. I suppose maybe I could find some way to throw this over, but I don't see any way to take it. Did the map designers do this jump on purpose because there was a turret, or did it have nothing to do with it? I suspect they knew somebody like me would try to take the turret all the way here. I don't know, but I have to leave it here, and after lugging it all the way through the resistance base, it was nice of them to not stop me as I was stealing their turret though. This looks like some sort of old military camp prior to the Combine invasion, or perhaps during it. At first the tents look like they suffered bullet holes, but closer inspection suggests that this was built, abandoned, and forgotten. All of this area is mostly abandoned. There are a lot of bull squids in this camp and in the surrounding area. A surprising number, actually.
Flee in the city. Are you sure you can do it? Living in the middle of this river is like living in the middle of a sea, surrounded by tons of undrinkable water. Even fish has metal aftertaste. It's worse than Nutri-Paste. Frankly speaking, there was no strong reason for us to take off. We just wanted to keep living in the house where we lived before the war. But we can't go back to the city. Back in the day, we would have been pardoned for running away. But now, since there's mutiny, we would be persecuted for political reasons, if not shot on sight.
That's my girl. Going for hell and high water together.
This dialogue here suggests they might have been resistance and then deserted and are now forced to live out here alone. I'm not sure how they survive with all the bull squids out here, but it seems like they have all the cooking supplies. I like that the level designer actually put in an effort to make the pot look like it was boiling. Really cool detail. Beyond these refugees, you have to jump across the ships to reach the other side. For some reason, I think I can just jump off and swim across, but even though it looks like it's open, there's an invisible wall here. You must jump across the ships to reach the other side. Weirdly, on the other side of the shore, there's a yurt on this grounded ship. After clearing out the multitude of bull squids around it, I climb up to investigate, unsure what this even is or why it's here.
Well met. Could you but see the eyes inside your own, the minds in your mind, you would see how much we share.
This is like clearly a drug sequence from a Far Cry game, right? I guess he, or the stuff I just smoked, is telling me not to make amends, so to speak. All you have to do is throw empty milk cartons at the power to temporarily turn it off. On the right side, there's this one container that has a bunch of IED-type explosives inside. Take the explosives and throw it at the electrical station to permanently shut it down, so that you can open the other electrified door, which seems like an extreme way to traverse, as, you know, now these will not be blocked off for anybody else who comes this route. There's a lambda symbol inside, likely an indicator that this is the way to go. These are actually scattered out all over the place as an indication of where to go, but I often miss them.
Well, I should have met you on the outdoors, but now there are so many sandbugs. Here, you better take this
Time to get the dollar store gravity gun.
Command ordered to give you a car. The car is located dead below. Hey, I won't go down with you, but I'll cover you from the catwalks. There's a car in the garage. Take it. Listen here, if you need to heal, I'll throw you a health kit, okay?
Time to get a vehicle and traverse the exterior, which is naturally filled with outlines. There's also a surprising amount of human habitation out in the steps as well. This garage holds a Jeep and requires a bit of jumping to get to the controls to open the garage doors. Outside, our resistance buddy is acting as sniper coverage. Technically, if you get injured, he'll also drop medkits for you. As soon as we leave here, though, we'll be on our own for a while, and it's kinda dangerous out there. I love how the level design paints this picture of military checkpoints and how everything's just abandoned. We've got this old military checkpoint over here, still somewhat intact from whatever chaos was happening during the Combine invasion. At least I assume it's from then. This tower has a resistance supply box, which I find on the balcony. There's also a safe on the bottom floor, and I search high and low for the combination or the key or whatever it is to open this thing. Even going outside for a bit until I realize that outlines are everywhere. And here it is, just this simple key rack on the wall. I guess I was never close enough for it to highlight before and didn't notice it until I was right up on the wall. Unfortunately, there wasn't even really much useful in it despite all the time I spent trying to track down the key. Outside I get rushed by outlions and I'm forced to flee in the Jeep. They are inconsistent but pretty numerous out here and throughout this little road trip that we're about to be on. Or I guess technically we're currently on. This abandoned village is overrun by antlions, which isn't surprising considering it's just sitting out here in the open. There's a resistance crate over here, but more importantly there's a ramp in the back to jump over, but the way is blocked. Initially, part because there are so many explosives around, I think I have to blow up the blockade to get through, but that's not quite it either. Eventually, I discover I can just squeeze through on the left side. I'll admit it didn't look like this could be done, but somehow I get the vehicle through here. Is this the intended path, or did I just slip through an opening accidentally? This is one instance I feel like it wasn't very clear where I was supposed to go, and I spent a lot of time wandering around looking for it. Too much time, in fact. This will actually be important later. I tried to take this ammo container with me, but it just falls through the back of the vehicle. Because of this makes me believe that I can't carry stuff with me in the Jeep. There's another village here under siege from the outlions. This one's occupied, however. The leader here wants to talk, and since they have barred the way, I don't really have a choice.
Damn bastards! They killed my cow!
The town leader needs us to deploy the thumper, and since we have the dollar store gravity gun, we can actually do that relatively easily. We'll have some snipers for cover, but they aren't great at it, so be prepared to knock some antlions down with the dollar store gravity gun. This is a bitter battle here to get this thing plugged in. The antlions are perpetual, but fortunately I can disable them temporarily with this makeshift gravity gun. Hopefully the power stays on, or these people are in trouble, and there might be another abandoned village here soon enough. The boss here indicates that the Combine leaves the villagers alone until they are seen as helping the resistance. He warns us we'll be finding some of those villages ahead, and indeed we will.
Where your road goes.
This base here is a legion of antlions. Together with a resistance fighter, we can open the gate. Filling and powering the thumper allows us to survive long enough to get the gate open so I can drive on to the next objective. This effect here happens when we go too far out. I assume this is like an indication that we are going the wrong way, as this is an extremely wide and open area, remarkably so for Half-Life 2. They do use this effect later on for the head injury too though, so I'm confused a little bit about it. This is so highly detailed, I'm not actually sure where to go. This building near the bridge looks like the place where I should go, but I can't actually get to it. I actually need to circle around to get up onto the bridge before reaching this structure, which I can't actually go into, which might be why it looks so detailed. This is a strange generator. You use an old car to turn the gears to generate power in order to access the elevator. This car is also weird because you have to start it from the front. I think I saw this in Jalopy a long time ago, but it's definitely not something I suspect is commonplace, especially in a post-Combine world. Maybe there are more cars like this in Central Asia though, who knows. These fast head crabs always startle me. They're not as scary as the poison ones, but somewhat annoying. The fast ones seem scattered about abandoned locations, especially this one. Interestingly enough, the whole elevator is just there to get on the roof and knock off the rail lines. I think these are rail lines to force open the gate down the road. I don't look at this long enough, but we get a little glimpse of what is ahead and what we're going to, which is also really cool. The village leader warned us we'd find some Combine results up ahead, and here we are. The station was clearly attacked and the people inside killed. Now the power system for the gate requires electrolytes to function. I think it must be here in this house, in the shed, or in the surrounding area, so I search everywhere, over and over again, thinking I must be missing something that is plainly obvious. The reason I don't go to the other building nearby is because when I tried to put the ammo in the Jeep, the back of the Jeep, it just fell through. In my mind, this means I can't carry anything with me to come back here. Because of this false perception of how it works, I eventually have to look this up and see that I need to acquire the electrolyte from a nearby building. This can somehow be put in the back of the truck, and it actually can be carried back. Seemingly, I wouldn't have had this issue if I hadn't have tried to take ammo with me early and had it fall through. My own mistake, ultimately. This combination lock was actually on the wall at the back of the gatehouse. Now this part didn't exactly make sense to me. You can throw the electrolyte through the door, but getting yourself was a little more difficult. I tried climbing the environment without success multiple times until I see the explosives and the blast marks on the floor underneath the makeshift elevator. Also, once I get out, I realize that even though I threw 2 electrolytes out, only one is actually here. Indeed, we can actually carry this item. I clearly mess my own self up by trying to carry ammo, and making this more complicated than it otherwise should have been. Pour the electrolytes onto the power, hit the switch, and the gate opens up. This is another one of these offending villages the Elder spoke of. There are headcrab missiles around and dead resistance scattered throughout. There are also headcrabs hiding in the dirt that pop out whenever I get near. Further down, there will also be zombies that show up. This whole place is a creepy ghost town. Seemingly no one survived the Combine assault here. This is where you can swap the scoped bolt action for a non-scoped variety. I chose not to take it as I don't have a lot of long-range weaponry, but it is an option here. If it had more ammo, I might have given up the scope and used it more as an assault weapon, but since you can't carry much, it's I thought the scope would be better. Found some survivors. Well, maybe not entirely. These zombies do beg to be killed sometimes, so maybe they are technically survivors, kind of. Although I'm not sure I want to think about that. I used the vehicle to run them over rather than waste ammo, even though I have plenty of it by this point. The children's toys here are disconcerting considering what happened to this village. Also, you know, there is the fact that the suppression field stops there from being children. Environmental storytelling, I guess, but that's still kind of rough to see. There's some really purple potatoes here too. I'd be afraid those are radioactive or something. Once we get into the courtyard, we are ambushed by fast zombies and fast head crabs. When I eliminate the first group, another one jumps over the wall to rush me. Past experiences tell me I can throw an object to hit the switch. Sure enough, that's exactly how you pull a switch up here. Then I just have to shoot the plug off to keep the door open. It actually takes a few tries to shoot the plug off in the 3 or so seconds I have to accomplish it. There's another poison zombie here, and I somehow managed to dodge the poison headcrabs again. Maybe I'm getting lucky with them, or maybe I have some primal memory of needing to get out of their way as fast as possible. I wonder if my armor stops the poison the same as the HEV. I don't think I ever get hit to test that out. Hypothetically, it works the same, though.
We are all perfectly aware of the risks. We have chosen to side fighting with the resistance, not hiding with the anarchists. Many of those present here are alive because the resistance rescued them in the past anyway, so transferring control to the Lambda Commanders is our planetary duty.
Power's on here, and we can lower the drawbridge. That will allow me to drive across. I don't wait and run back to the vehicle as zombies arrive over the hills in response to the machinery. Yet again, I find the vehicle is a very effective weapon in and of itself. I don't get a Tau counter like Freeman. Can't have nice things out here in the steppes, I guess. I make it work, though. This is the first time I've encountered these magnetic mine things, and they hit and disable the Jeep. Fortunately, the dollar store gravity gun can both disable and propel them away. Although it takes more than a few tries to get the one that's stuck under the Jeep. I don't think I actually ever see these again, but our road trip is also about to come to a close. There's this one last resistance supply crate to acquire before we retire the Jeep and proceed to the final portion of our mission. I guess there's also an achievement for it. That's kind of cool. Running down the tracks, I'm pursued by antlions. I know better than to try to fight them, as they are probably spawning up a hole somewhere that I can't block. There are also combine turrets set up that take shots at both me and the antlions. Not sure why the partisans just left hostile turrets up here, but they did. And there is even a combine control panel inside this building. There's an AK here, but I can't pick it up.
Your leaders agreed with us long ago that we are in charge of railway smuggling. Why the fuck are you undermining our operation?
I don't give a fuck about your cargo. Our people are dying in the city, and they will be crushed if we don't stop the dark trains.
Because of your explosions, the Combine are bombing innocent civilians in the peaceful steppe villages. But you don't give a fuck about them either, do you? You brute.
There are thousands of people in your wasteland, and hundreds of thousands in the city. The exchange is justified.
Hey you, what has brought you to me? Oh, so be it. Welcome aboard, comrade. I think you should see our contraband, so that you don't make preemptive conclusions about our methods. Follow me. You must see this.
Man, people sure do have hard heads in this area. I should know. I'm sure he'll be fine, though. Totally not his brains splattered out across that generator. Here's our target. I mean, the Roki, the leader of the Black Battalion. We're here to make amends, after all. It's time to earn his trust and then make our decision about how to proceed. He says for me to take a look inside the train. I initially assume he's smuggling weapons or something, or maybe something like drugs. It is definitely something else for sure, though.
Careful. Look.
It would be impossible in the city. Only far, far away, in the midst of a wasteland, away from the aliens' radiation, the humanity will be able to procreate. Now, we believe in future. The future that we will have.
Well, that changes everything, doesn't it? The Combine send a chopper. Perhaps they were following me, or maybe it's just a general attack. Either way, we don't get a rocket launcher to deal with it. Like Freeman. No sir or ma'am. Instead we get a grenade launcher. They are kidding me, right? You got to lead the shots, kind of. It's confusing and I don't think I fully figured it out. The chopper has rockets though, so you have to dodge this damage and then somehow land a grenade on a moving flying target. At least I have infinite ammo, if not quite infinite health. I somehow make it work. Maybe I really am resistance material. The train is leaving immediately, and we get to take a ride with it.
Listen, tonight we're performing a very special operation. If you stay with us, you will be helping to ensure humanity's survival.
Here's this effect again. This time it seems to be our head, you know, back at the beginning where we smashed open our brains after jumping from the train like a moron, but also are still alive, maybe. Partisan leader, Roki, thanks us for staying, but I'm pretty sure we were literally unconscious just a moment ago. This is a fairly beautiful sunset, all things considered, especially where we are. You gotta appreciate the little things. There's a problem with the rails. Fortunately, we are a master engineer and can solve this problem. Well, probably, anyway. There's actually a generator here in the train that can be switched on, and it has a power cord connected to it. There's an outlet on the wall that I eventually find after wandering around without a clue what I'm supposed to be doing. So much for the master engineer portion of my resistance training. I don't even think I have a wrench, and we're in a game iconic for its wrench-based weaponry. You can almost see the gears slowly turning in my little brain here. This switch needs to fuse, of which there's a stack in the control room. With that replaced, the gate slowly opens, allowing us to access what we'll learn is a secret tunnel.
This secret tunnel was built for the evacuation of state security staff in case of a nuclear war. Combine are guarding all the entrances and exits of the Overwatch Nexus building. Except this tunnel, which is still unknown to them. Get right into their den, absolutely unnoticed. Now that's what I call tactics.
For some reason, we just experienced this entire train ride. I'm not sure why they didn't just have a level loading screen and jump us to the end. It's a curious artistic choice for sure.
The stormtroopers are not too talkative. They know their chances of getting back alive are very small. They had a dark past and want to atone for it. You know, you're also a man of few words.
He's correct here, but we do eventually speak. Yet again, the train generator comes in handy. We can power up this little abandoned section of the hidden rail line. Oh man, these map designers, they remembered Half-Life always has these diagonal elevators. I'm so impressed to see this here. We might not be in Black Mesa, but we still have a taste of it here with this elevator. Also, this elevator for some reason reminds me of the elevator in Trepang that went down into the backroom Soviet base. Roki here suggests that we infiltrate quietly. Yeah, that's not going to happen with me here. We are most definitely going loud. Stealth isn't really my forte in any way, shape, or form. Hey, there's a key on this table, and I actually find this one right away. This unlocks a gun we're going to have plenty of ammo for around here. Unfortunately, our surprise attack is immediately lost when a Combine walks over to investigate the gate opening. Oh well, I didn't want to stealth anyway. Outside, our lads, as Roki says, sets off an explosion and wakes up the whole base. So much for stealth. We breach into a nearby building and I head upstairs, and encountering a trio of Combine that toss a grenade. I dodge the grenade, but our friend over here doesn't, prematurely ending the game as we have to keep him alive. Through a door, we encounter a turret section. Roki runs up and tosses a grenade, essentially showing us how to defeat these turrets, as there will be quite a few of these around that will require well-placed grenades to eliminate. The game just generously gives us a crate of grenades as if it knows I'm going to waste a lot of these getting it right. So these turrets have grates nearby that grenades must go in order to eliminate them, although I don't know if this is true, but it seems like they need to be taken out sequentially to make them accessible, or perhaps someone with better aiming can do it in any order.
I'll deal with it. You're in charge of the force field generator.
Got him. We have a backdoor entrance into the shielded part of the base through here. This allows us to access the power station, which I actually saw when entering earlier through a window. This shuts down the force fields and lets our guys in. They sure did a good job with the scenery. Looks like we're in some rare operational facility that hasn't been touched by the ravages of the apocalypse. You know, at least until we showed up anyway. Permanent HEV charger. That's an interesting balance choice. At first I tried to blow up the APCs before realizing I'm just here to close the shutters, so the rest of our team can gain access to the far hall. The charger will kind of, sort of allow me to survive that interaction. They are already here? I guess we should have taken this team's route instead. I like this hacker setup here too. We also get new orders. A Combine are trying to cut in through the roof, so we have to go stop them to keep the data extraction team safe. I don't stand back as the Combine cut open and blow the doorway. We have an iconic stairwell that should have been filled with Combine that we have to fight all the way to get to the end. There's a few here though, and a turret at the top. This one Combine was hooked up to the HEV generator too. Didn't work for him nearly as well as it did for me though. But that's probably a good thing for me. And anyone else that played this section. This laser cutting through the floor with the power cord tells me I need to unplug it. Weirdly, I can't seem to do that, even though all the past experiences in this game says I should be able to. We have the sequence with them firing up at me and then claiming they almost finished me. I allow them this humor. Time to draw the attention of the Combine, he says, which, you know, isn't that what we've been doing this whole time? And indeed, that's what we're going to do. Time for a Combine blitz. We have the HEV connected to a charger to help us survive this onslaught, and there's a crate of Combine ammo nearby too. After the Combine moves too many people to my permanent charger, they launch in this comically large gas rollers that force us to retreat from the building. We are leaving. The blurring effect is maybe from our egregious head injury that we got from jumping from the train. This stops us and they have to carry us out.
Why haven't you been reporting on your mission? Why haven't you come to safe houses? I've had a hard time infiltrating and finding you here. I am risking everything. Have you forgotten why you're here? Someone dropped you on the head?
The resistance is strong only when its divisions, both in the city and in the steppe, work together. We controlled the underground resistance in City 545, but the anarchists managed to bring the wasteland inhabitants to heel. This is the region's very force one cannot ignore. Roki is their leader. The anarchists' dominance over the region rests upon only their successful sabotage and Roki's personal charm. That's why your mission is quite simple. Eliminate him, making it look like an accident.
What are you going to do when the locals start to worship him as a martyr?
In such cases, we will take over the region, praising Roki in our battle cries. It doesn't matter what flag we act on. Our results will speak for themselves. We are in a position that allows being flexible in such cases. And remember, Rocky has his own eyes and ears. Nobody must hear to kill Rocky. We will call it make amends instead. Understood? Chaika will meet you on the train. She will be in your informant. Your train is coming soon. Hurry up.
Easy there. Stand on your feet. Don't fall. You can't abandon the mission when there's only one step left. Rocky must be dead before the plane has landed. I hope you haven't bought his fantasy crap that one can simply sit the Combine's invasion out, have you?
We actually have spoken dialogue for at least a moment, so we're here to kill Roki. Make amends just being code for an assassination. These weird but also likely divisions within the Resistance seem counterproductive, especially since Roki and his partisans have actually found a way to escape the suppression field. I should mention that to our Resistance friend here, but unfortunately I only have a few lines of dialogue. This plan seems real sus. Flying around with the tech that the Combine can bring seems foolhardy, but maybe that's the point. Make it look like an accident.
Look, this is my dead body. And this is your corpse. Here's Azamat and here's Jamal. Of course, they're really alive, as we are. The Combine will find these bodies while searching the wreckage. They'll remove us from the wanted list. After what we did last night, we're anti-citizens #1. Well, #1 and 2. Yes, this plan is risky, but there's no other way they'll stop hunting us.
There's this drone fighting sequence where we have to jump into the back of the Millennium we have to shoot down an army of drones with this little machine gun. This part was maybe the most difficult part of the game for me. You have to lead the shots, seemingly dependent on where you're shooting from. As you can see, I lack the necessary skills to actually hit it and even end up hitting my own plane. I get close the first time, but it takes me a few tries to figure out how to lead shots, and even then I still miss a few. Eventually though, we managed to shoot down the drone. They found an infiltrator, which we see on his laptop with the plane open in the back. An explosion knocks us out of the plane, and we get to choose to follow our mission or deny it.
Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Well, do something. Show me your intentions. Then.
I don't shoot my brothers in arms.
We get one more line of dialogue up here. Of course I'm not going to shoot him. We did accomplish a lot, and I did see his plan to move people away from the suppression field. Perhaps the Lambda Resistance will have to manage on their own.
The failed assassination attempt spoiled the reputation of the Lambda Resistance, forcing it to shamefully reduce its presence in the region. The radio codes captured in the Nexus allowed us to avoid bloody skirmishes with the Combine Punishers. In 12 years, when City 17 was reduced to a pile of radioactive ruins, the occupants' transition government lost its vigilance, and a multitude of city dwellers escaped the tyrannical grip of City 545's oppressors, dispersing into the free world of the steppe.
The level design and atmosphere were phenomenal, and I love the ethnic vibe mixed with Half-Life 2 that was present throughout. Overall, fantastic little mod with pretty good pacing that generally didn't get overwhelming. The shift from fighting in the city to the steppes was also really nice. There are only a few instances where I got confused on where I have to go and what I have to do. The primary one being I just didn't know some of the items I could go in the back of the Jeep. This almost certainly won't be the last Half-Life mod I play. If you somehow made it all the way here, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week.